Jeremy made it a roundtable discussion. "I don't care if you marry the bitch, but I want my child," he declared. "She duped you, Mr. Emmanuel. She spiked your drink. You are not the father of her child. She planned it because she could not abort, and she knew her mother would never allow her live with her pregnant, and she had nowhere else to go. And I took her in," Emmanuel finished. "What?" Jennifer stuttered, baffled. "You knew about it?" Susan asked. "No, I am just hearing the drug part for the first time. But I very much knew the rest," he responded. "Wait, are you trying to say you knew she was not carrying your baby and you still married her anyway? You are one desperate dude," Jeremy commended. "No, I am not," Emmanuel snapped. "But when a boy like you drops your responsibility and leaves the woman to face the music alone, don't you think you shouldn't blame her for whatever steps she took to defend herself? I am not excusing her wrong. I should feel used. I am. But I am saying, you, Jeremy, have no claim at all to that child. The baby is mine, and I promise you it is my name, Emmanuel Peters, that will be on the birth certificate." "You lie," Jeremy shouted. He tried to push Emmanuel's cane out of his hands, but Emmanuel already had a tight grip on it. Jeremy pushed the table out of the way, and before anyone knew it, a scuffle broke out between the two. It was not an equal match. Emmanuel caused his blind eyesight for every punch he received that he couldn't fight back. Finally, he began swinging his cane here and there. The smashing of the cane across Jeremy's neck only made the guy enraged. He smashed a punch against Emmanuel's skull. He dropped to the floor immediately, bruised and unconscious, as Ayo rushed towards him. Someone had also alerted the police. Jeremy and Abigail's friends had already fled the scene. Banging on the heavy oak door, Abigail tried her best to remain calm. She was doomed. This walk of shame was too lonely and too hard for her. Her life felt dreary. How had her life turned out to be this? Just a year ago, she was enjoying herself, hanging on the arm of the most handsome man on campus, enjoying flashy rides, expensive dinners, and revealing clothes. How had she gotten here? She had messed up badly. She had used an innocent man. She had lied against him just to save her own neck. She had sexually assaulted him. Yet, he had clothed her, fed her, and gave her a roof over her head. The pastor's wife was the one who came to answer the door. "Good evening, Abigail." The woman looked at her skeptically. "Good evening, ma. I would like to speak with Pastor Farotimi," she replied gently. "He is in his study." "Come in," she replied, tight-lipped. Abigail had never been inside their house. Whenever they were invited, Abigail always had one reason or the other why she couldn't follow Emmanuel. She hated the pastor's penetrating gaze, and even more, his wife's scrutiny. Everyone branded her a liar, which she was. She feared if she stayed near the man too much, she might spill out all of her secrets. But here she was, in the 9th month of her pregnancy, ready to spill her guts. "Ah, Sister Abigail, how are you? This is such an august visit," the pastor greeted as he came out. "Wait, what of Emmanuel?" he asked hurriedly. A look of concern came over his face. "His driver went to get him. He will soon be here," she replied gently. She automatically went on her knees. Pastor Komalafe sighed, looking at her. "I knew you came here for something. Speak to me. Stand up. You don't have to kneel." "Pastor, forgive me, for I have sinned. I lied against an innocent man, and I can't bear this lie again. I want freedom," she cried. He smiled. Not once did he look at her with disgust. Mrs. Komalafe came closer and helped her up. "We will never throw a stone at you. We have all sinned, and Christ has forgiven us. You know your story is like that of the lost sheep and Jesus. He won't rest until he is sure you are his. Jesus loved you even before you came crying for forgiveness, Sister Abigail. I never doubted Emmanuel. I knew he was not capable of such. I knew he was being lied against. But the video was there. We couldn't argue against that. You planned it well. But even Jesus does not relent. He won't stop until he has gotten you to confess your sins and ask for forgiveness. He will break all of your barriers, all of your pride, and come for you, saving you for himself. That is why I wondered how Emmanuel was the man God picked to bring to repentance. Now, tell me what truly happened." Abigail told him everything, without leaving out anything. From the time her mother usually dolled her up so that she could go out on the street and meet rich men who would in turn give her money, to when she went to school and began doing blowjobs for money, how she became the campus belle and won Jeremy's attention. Her mother's lessons to bring home a very rich man. To how she eventually spread her legs for him, to how she slept with people on her street also, to how she became pregnant and Jeremy's rejection, James' escape and flirtation, how she roped in Emmanuel, videoed him, and eventually presented her mother with the evidence when her mother eventually found out she was pregnant. All her friends turning their back against her, up to when Jeremy came to meet them, where she and Emmanuel had been eating. Pastor and Mrs. Komalafe signed, listening to everything, not uttering a single word. They wanted to condemn her, but they could see that she was broken down already and was truly sorry for her actions. Without saying another word, Pastor Komalafe picked up his phone and dialed Pastor Peters and his wife in Inewi, Anambra State. The beeping of the monitor was the first sound Emmanuel heard when he woke up. He turned his head. He groaned as light flickered deep into his eyes. What? Could he see the light? He gasped. He knew what that meant. Was he regaining his eyesight? He hadn't even been born blind. It had been a long-standing corneal scarring leading to functional blindness, correctable by corneal transplant. But around that time, his parents had claimed poverty. They couldn't afford the surgery. His parents had once been extremely poor, that they couldn't even feed 2 square meals. His eyesight had gotten very bad around that time. By the time his father had gotten a new job and he inherited his father's big house, which they now lived in, Emmanuel was already blind. And the specialist had said they had to wait for the tissue to heal first, and even after that, the surgery was very costly. To pacify him, his parents had allowed him learn everything he wanted to his heart's content. At least that they could pay for. He had gone to the school for the blind and he became gifted with instruments. They were extremely proud people and would not tell others the real reason why he had gone blind. They wouldn't even beg for money to help with his surgery. He almost said a thank you to Jeremy for his punches. He was seeing light again. His world had been dark for too long. The door opened. He sensed it was higher. Oga, you don't wake. I never see you enter fight before. If you know sabi fight, no dey try am. Thank God say I come fast. That boy will kill you. And those idiots there were just looking. He mumbled as he sat. He placed the bottle of water in Emmanuel's hands. What of Abigail? He asked. Na she wey you dey find. She never come here. I call her but her phone switch off. She talk say make I drop her for Pastor Komalafe house. E be like say na there she dey. Emmanuel nodded. At least she was safe. He had seen her leave and I thought she had gone to wait in the car, but he had not expected the turn of events. I have called your pastor wife. She should be here soon. I never go out since yesterday. I be one visit my family. Ayo informed him. Emmanuel bid him farewell. Mrs. Komalafe came soon after. He could read the tension waves coming off her, but he didn't probe. His main concern was Abigail. She assured him Abigail was fine and at her place, but she could not come due to how heavy she was, to which Emmanuel was even happy. He didn't want her stressing. The doctor came back some minutes later. Ayo had brought him to a general hospital and it seemed he had paid for all sorts of tests. As the doctor kept reading them out, we noticed a change in this scan. When I checked it, our ophthalmologist mentioned that with a successful transplant, you should be able to see again perfectly. Mrs. Komalafe screamed. She held his hands. God is still performing miracles, so there was redemption. But the surgery will have to be done within this window, at least a month from now. The surgery may become impossible later on. Now that the part around that area is weak now, we can easily make the switch. How soon can we have the surgery? Mrs. Komalafe asked eagerly. The doctor winced. Actually, that is where the problem is. There is no place in Nigeria where that surgery can be done. We will have to travel abroad. And from the last estimate we had, I think it cost him nothing less than 35 million naira to sum up all the costs, plus airfare and hall cost. I am sorry. Emmanuel bent his head and wept. He had been saving and investing, but even in all of that, he could only boast of 9 million marks. He was not that rich, and he was supposed to get the money in a month. Where was he going to get it? He groaned out loud, agony piercing through him. I'm sorry, Mr. Emmanuel, but don't worry. We do have a few foundations we work with who sponsor things like this. We can make contact with them and see how much they want to help with. Mrs. Komalafe laughed. There is no need for that. That is why we have the Church of God. That money will be ready in no time. Help us get the needed papers. He will do the surgery. She squealed happily like a schoolgirl. Emmanuel raised his head. What are you saying? I am saying 35 million naira will be completed by next week Sunday for your surgery, Mr. Emmanuel. The church is more than capable. Hallelujah, she screamed. I can't wait for you to see me, Emmanuel. She immediately picked up her phone and began calling the church elders. Emmanuel broke down, weeping the second time. You can't cry, Mr. Emmanuel. We can't strain any of your tissues right now. Ma, please, you have to leave. You're making him tear up. But who will look after him? His bill has been settled. You can just pay one of those attendants by the door. They will see to his every need. With that said, the doctor ushered her out, he himself locking the door shut behind him, leaving Emmanuel to the life-changing news that had visited him. God was faithful. Abigail was apprehensive, but she knew there was no escaping this moment. She had to confess her sins. Pastor Komalafe had assembled the family together. Her greetings to her parents had been ignored, although her mother had commented on how beautiful she looked with her pregnancy. Emmanuel was feeding her well. That had come as a surprise to her mother. Abigail knew her mother didn't know exactly how her husband felt for himself. She sighed when she realized she had called him her husband. There was no way he was going to remain her husband now. Emmanuel's mother didn't even look at her. She sat firmly in Emmanuel's living room where the meeting was taking place. Emmanuel was still in the hospital, and according to Mrs. Komolafe, his injuries were a bit severe. She hadn't told her anything about it. She had said he had an accident on his way back. Not even Ayo had been seen. She was scared. She needed him here to assure her. Even his phone number was switched off. All of her efforts to know the hospital was denied. She hoped Emmanuel was not angry with her, or that Jennifer and Jeremy had said something to him. Anxious, she hugged her stomach. She tried to sit, but her mother's scream made her stand instantly. "Disgraceful child, what is so good about you having a child out of wedlock?" Abigail turned away, tears stinging her eyes. "Mrs. Farotimi, that is not the reason why I brought you here today. I fear Abigail has something very important to say to you all, and I want her to say it with her own mouth, because I am sorry. This marriage cannot continue." Mrs. Farotimi squealed, eyes wide. "You mean you can't even keep a blind man?" Mrs. Komolafe butted in. "Ma, this is not about keeping Emmanuel. Emmanuel adores her. He treats her like a princess. But I can't let this continue in good conscience after what she told us, and she needs to tell you herself." "Speak," Pastor Peters commanded. Abigail put her hands together. This was hard. She edged closer to the pastors. "Emmanuel is not the father of my child. I lied," she blurted out. Her mother screamed. She let out a cackle of laughter. "What kind of sick joke is this? The entire Inewi Community Church knows my son impregnated you because he is blind and starving for some female affection. And since he couldn't hold himself, he turned to you and you became pregnant for him. My husband was suspended as the pastor of the church. I dropped out of many organizations in the church. I can't even walk on the street with my head held high. I shamed my own son. I cursed at him, shouted at him, and told him never to call me again. And now, you think you can say he's not the father of your child? You demon!" She reached for Abigail, who screamed and ran behind Mrs. Komolafe, who stood up and stopped Emmanuel's mother. She retied her wrapper. "No, allow me. That is not a human being. That is a demon, a lying demon. Allow me to tear her mouth apart. She destroyed my family," she screamed. Pastor Komolafe shook his head. "No, she did not destroy your family. Your lack of trust in your son did." That snapped seemed to correct Mrs. Peters, whose shoulders slumped as tears fell from her eyes. "I never stopped believing in him. I prayed daily that she would accept the Lord as her savior and say what really happened. She should tell us." Pastor Peters agreed. They all looked at Abigail, who was now paler than before, her eyes fearful and red. She recounted everything to them, from the beginning to the end. Mrs. Peters cursed at her a few more times, while her mother rolled on the floor. "Evil child, evil child," her mother chorused as she rolled. Mrs. Peters, without another word, stood up and walked towards the bedroom. Abigail's heart sank as she saw it was her bags and luggage that were being picked out. Emmanuel had bought her more things after she began living with him. Her clothes were all over the room. "Ma, I will suggest we sit and discuss the next possible line of action. Perhaps we should hear what Emmanuel has to say first, before you push her out. And besides, she is pregnant. At least consider the innocent baby," Mrs. Komolafe suggested. "I don't care. She's leaving my son's house right this instant. And you," she turned to Abigail's mother, "I think it is time your family moves somewhere else. I will pay back the monthly rent you have paid me. You will not stay with me again. No way." Abigail began crying. "Ma, please, where would she go? Her mother would never allow her in, and neither would her friends. It is okay," Mrs. Komolafe said, putting a hand on her shoulder. "No, it was not. She loved Emmanuel. She really did. She wanted to ask for his forgiveness. She couldn't live like this." Despite Pastor Komolafe's plea, no one was willing to listen to her. The house was emptied of her belongings. She was pushed out, and her mother walked right up to her and slapped her hard across the face. "If I ever set my eyes on you again, I will kill you," she vowed. Knowing the type of person her mother was, she probably would. Abigail swallowed. By now, her tears had dried on her face and her head hot. "You can stay at the mission with us until you get yourself sorted out." I anticipated this move, but I was hoping they would allow Emmanuel to make the decision. I only wanted the discussion to be sorted out. You could not go on deceiving the families. Restitution was hard, and her life would probably be harder from here on. Glad to have been discharged from the hospital, Emmanuel was relieved when Ayo pulled up to the house. His phone had broken, and he had not been able to contact Abigail for the 2 days he was away. This wasn't how he wanted the whole thing to go. He should probably apologize for fighting with her boyfriend. He had informed Mrs. Komolafe to keep the fights and hospital issues away from her. Gosh, he loved her, and now he was bound to regain his eyesight. He knew why they had a shot at a happy life. The silence was deafening as he came in. "Abigail," he called. He checked the entire room and saw the house was empty. Cursing his bad phone, he decided to go to the Komalafe. Mrs. Komalafe had been the one mediating with information about Abigail to him. Hence, she would know where she had gone. He tried his best to push down the sense of foreboding that filled him as he left the house once more. He had to repair his phone fast. It was a highly configured one and couldn't be easily replaced. He hailed down a cab, which took him to the Komalafe's residence. The pastor's children were home. Seeing him, they all squealed. He had been their instrument teacher. Where is pastor? He asked. He couldn't play with them. Heavier issues weighed on his mind. Let me call them. The other girl volunteered and soon disappeared inside. Minutes later, Mrs. Komalafe greeted him. You were discharged, she stated. Yes, ma, but I got home now and I can't find Abigail. It's like she's nowhere. And I noticed her things are also missing. Yes, you see, Abigail told us something about what truly happened. So your parents came and told her to leave. Anger bubbled up in Emmanuel. They have no right. Maybe they did. She finally confessed that she spiked your drink and her boyfriend Jeremy is responsible. Mrs. Komalafe trailed off. She watched Emmanuel's reaction. He didn't seem shocked or angry. Wait, you knew? She asked. Yes, I did. I have always known I was not a father. I told them that day at Nnewi, but the hawk condemned me and made sure I paid her dowry and married her. I did not complain. She had been living with me ever since. They have no right to walk into my home and make such decisions. It is not their right or place. Mrs. Komalafe was shocked. She had never seen him this angry. Did they take her with them? Her parents may do something bad to her if she stays with them too long. No one can look after her like I do. They will make her suffer. I know they will. Are you in love with Abigail, Emmanuel? Yes, I am. We are. Not just me. We love each other, he confirmed. I knew what I was getting into that day. So my parents had better back off. I am a grown man and can decide for myself what I want. They can't just give me a wife and take her away the next second. Mrs. Komalafe spoke up. Truthfully, I didn't want her for you. I did not want her to come meet you in the hospital at all. I felt disgusted by her behavior towards you. But seeing you know and knowing you knew about it, I am shocked to say the least. Please, where is she? Emmanuel asked. Actually, Pastor went to register her for full stay at the hospital until she gives birth. She's at Mommy Mary's clinic. Emmanuel stood up. The pastor's wife voice held him. Are you really sure she wants to spend the rest of her life with you? A blind man. If you go to her now, you will want to tell her about the discovery of your eyes and how you can see again. And she may hold on to you with the promise of a better future for herself. Let's create that distance and see if she will still want you even if you are blind forever. We will tell her the story that your accident made you blind permanently. If she stays, then she's truly worth it, because I feel she's only staying with you because she had nowhere else to go. I don't think so. Well, I think so. I can see that your relationship has progressed a lot and you must have slept with her. But don't allow that to stop you. Think with your brain. I want to give her independence from you. Money, a house, everything. Then we will truly know if she will still want to stay with you. Emmanuel knew she was trying to think for him, and he hated it. People always thought he couldn't make his own decisions, just like his parents. I promise you she will still choose to stay with me, he affirmed. Let's test that theory then, because judging from her behavior, that lady desperately needed a place to stay, and you were a convenient alternative. The word stung, but he could see how it may look that way. Still, he knew Abigail. She was not like that. I still want to speak to her, he demanded. She agreed reluctantly. He knew she didn't trust Abigail, but that was okay. As long as he trusted her, he could stand by her. Pastor Komalafe met them at the entrance of the clinic. Emmanuel, the pastor started, I know no one watches out for me more than you do, but you should have allowed me make the decision. You shouldn't have brought my parents into this. They had no say in my life. I knew she wasn't telling the truth from the very beginning. She was scared of her mother, but I took it as God giving me a wife when I simply needed one. Not all marriages are created the conventional way. If this is my fate, then I will embrace it. She's someone I love, and I will stand by her. Are you even listening to yourself? You accepted her out of necessity, not love. You need to wake up. Mrs. Komalafe cut in. I am awake, wide awake, but like you said, I will allow Abigail make the choice, and I would appreciate it if you please do not try to make my decisions for me. Henceforth, the pastor nodded and signaled his wife to back off. Emmanuel was led to Abigail's room, while the pastor gently closed the door behind them. How are you feeling? He asked as he came in. Her hands across his temple made him shiver. She moved them to his head, which was bruised from his fight with Jeremy. Was the accident that severe? No, he replied. Mrs. Komalafe had told her he had an accident. Gosh, the pastor's wife was meddlesome. He didn't correct her for two reasons. She would feel bad about Jeremy fighting him, and she might no longer trust the pastor's wife, who meant well in her own squirmy way. "You did not answer my question," he said as he rested the cane against the window and sat. "I am good. The doctor said it was best I be admitted so they could monitor me closely, but I am glad you are here now. I tried too hard to reach you. I am sorry. No, I am sorry. I am sorry I drugged you and made you sleep with me. I am sorry I recorded you and showed it to people. I am sorry I lied against you and made you marry me. I even behaved badly towards you. It took my friends turning their back on me to make me see my reality," she cried as she held his hand. "So what do you want to do now?" "I don't know. I don't have anywhere to go." Emmanuel felt his heart sink. Was it true? Did she see him as a last resort? "I promised I would set you up, and I will. Before you leave the hospital, I'll pay the rent for a self-contained apartment and put some money in your account. That should sustain you and your baby. You should try to get a job, maybe in a school. That will help with your baby. You can look after your baby and work at the same time. I know I deserve you pushing me away, and I am sorry for all I did. Truly, I am sorry, Emmanuel. I now know that I never want to hurt you," she cried. "It is okay. It is all in the past." He wanted her to say something about living with him again, about their marriage. She wasn't talking about it. She wasn't talking about the life they had shared. Had she been forced into it just to keep staying? He didn't want to believe that. Yet, he couldn't bring himself to ask. She seemed content with just getting the house and the job. His heart felt heavy and painful. He struggled to breathe. She didn't love him, not sincerely. "Are you okay?" she asked, panicked. He didn't respond. He stood up and reached for his cane. "I want you to know that I would have told you the truth, even if we had not met Jeremy that day. I couldn't keep up the pretense any longer. You have been so good to me," he nodded, unable to speak, heart spreading through his chest. "Thank you for helping me with my life. You picked me up when no one wanted to. You stood by me, and now you're giving me a new chance at a future. I can't thank you enough." Unable to hold himself any longer, he picked up his cane and walked out. He steadied himself as he broke down in the lobby. Thankfully, he didn't sense the presence of the pastors. They must have left. He knew he was prohibited from crying. The doctor had warned him severely before releasing him, but he couldn't help it. It hurt deeply. Loving someone who doesn't love you back felt like a needle being driven into his chest.